Isn't it crazy to think that weaving, being over 6,000 years old, is still super popular today? I mean, the shirts that we wear, the blankets that we wrap up in, pretty much all cloth is woven. Now, the origins of the hand loom date back to about 4000 BCE, and there have been a lot of developments in the technology of weaving. We have floor looms, we have rigid heddle, we have the frame looms, but it all really comes back down to that ancient motion of over and under. No matter how you manipulate the warp and the weft, it's still everything is going under something or over something. And it's just mesmerizing. Once you get the hang of some of the skills and techniques that you need to learn in order to use a loom correctly, you can apply all of that information to pretty much any loom that you use, be it a rigid heddle or a floor loom or one of those frame looms or even a tapestry loom. You could even use it for those cardboard looms like we learned in elementary school. Every year at the beginning of the year, I teach my students how to weave using little cardboard looms, and they absolutely love it. And kicker this year is that some of the girls in my class saw me crocheting, and they begged and begged for me to teach them. And so I gave them some little hooks and some yarn, and wouldn't you know it, they learned how to do it. However, I do have to shout out TL Yarn Crafts. Tony, your video helped these two girls in 4th grade learn how to crochet. Now, I guided them a little bit along the way, but I mean, I gave them your video to learn the basics. So thank you. Depending on my mood and motivation, I can find warping even this small 16-inch loom a little daunting. It's really easy to start with the intention of finishing in one go, but once you get going, it's also really easy to just want to take a break. And that is not very helpful when you have a 9-foot warp just taking over your table or your room. So it's really, when you start, you have to finish. If you don't finish when you start, there's issues where the tension could get messed up, it could get knocked over. So my best advice to you is set aside some time to where you can dedicate yourself. You need at least a good 30 minutes to an hour just to get the yarn onto the loom. I found that through the process of warping this loom and filming it at the same time, it really kept me in check. I wanted to finish it, and having the camera there was kind of like my little buddy saying, yo, 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 you gotta finish this. You started it, you gotta finish it. Let's go, go, go. So that's what I did. So today I'm warping up my rigid heddle loom from Ashford. It's a 16-inch samplet loom, and I am using the 7.5 dent reed. All that means is that for every inch, there are going to be 7.5 threads. After the loom is warped, you have to wind it onto the back beam. Now, I've tried several different ways of doing this to get a good tension, and the one that I'm about to show you seems to have worked pretty well. So I put the loom clamped onto a lightweight table, and then I clamped the end of the warp onto a heavyweight table, and then as I wind, I'm adding in my warp separator, and I'm letting the table move towards the end of the warp, keeping a consistent tension. This has worked out perfectly, and it really is as easy as that. So if you're looking for a new way to learn how to warp on your own, which is challenging in and of itself, then try this method. It works really well. After winding on the back beam, it's time to sley the heddle. The heddle has slots and eyelets, and as of right now, after warping, each slot is filled with 2 strands of yarn. I need to separate that, so I'm going to take one strand and thread it to the next eyelet. This is one of the most time-consuming aspects of setting up a loom with a reed or a heddle, but it's absolutely essential because if you don't do this, then every time you move your heddle or your reed, nothing is going to move. Once the reed has officially been slayed, the end is in sight. We just need to tie on to the front apron rod. So for small looms like this, it's really helpful to tie into small bundles. I'm tying in groups of around 6 threads each, and I'm using a square knot to tie down for a temporary hold, only completing the first half of each knot. Then I will go back and tighten them up and finish the second half of the knot. I thought I had this section recorded, but apparently I didn't. So anyway, we're almost done, and we can actually kind of start weaving very soon. Sort of. If you're enjoying this video, please do take a moment to like and subscribe. I know it's kind of cheesy to ask that, but it really does mean a lot to me, and it's going to help my channel get out there and grow. Thank you so much for watching. The next step is to space the warp threads. And what this does is it helps to evenly space the warp threads so that you can move on to the next step, which is hem stitching, something that I also didn't record. And then finally, we can start weaving. So here is a glamour shot of my baby in the works. In the future, I'm going to be recording a similar video. However, it's going to involve my floor loom, which you saw at the beginning of this video. I'm coming to the end of this project of tea towels that have been on the loom for about a year at this point. And I have threaded it in a simple twill pattern, and to be honest, I'm just getting a little bored of it. I want these towels off the loom so that I can start a new project. Although what project I want to make next is actually a really good question. I've been looking through this amazing book that every weaver should own. It's called A Hand Weaver's Pattern Book by Marguerite Porter Davidson. And I think I want to do some sort of scarf in an overshot pattern using a wool warp and a hand-spun thicker wool for the pattern weft. I need to do some research into the logistics of that idea, but I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be successful. My only concern is the amount of drape that I'll be able to achieve using a typically stiffer style pattern like overshot with such a bouncy wool like my hand-spun. Anywho, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please do remember to subscribe and like and comment. I love reading comments and replying to them, and if you are interested in watching more, look at this video or this video. Bye!